Okay, welcome back to our channel, The Catalyst, our home or solutions. So we have section B on programming, which we are supposed to answer. It's a 4-in-line program. Connect 4 or 4-in-line is a two-player strategy game played on a 7-column by 6-row board. Each player has 21 discs of a given color, which he or she drops into one of the columns during his or her turn. The disc is dropped to the lowest empty cell in the column. The first player to align 4 discs of his or her color wins. The discs can be aligned vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. If the board is filled without any alignment, the game is drawn. Is draw. We are to implement a variant of Connect 4 game, which is played on a 5-column by 5-row grid with 2 players, player 1 and player 2. Use the character X for player 1 disc and the character O for player 2 disc. So, task 2, understand the problem. In the space below, draw a table with 5 rows and 5 columns on the left side of the table. Number the columns 1 to 5 from top to bottom. Below the table, number the columns 1 to 5 from left to right. Make sure each grid cell is large enough to write any character in. So to do that, for us not to waste a lot of time, I've already created the document here. As you can see, I created the Word document and then I created something like a grid. So the ones in green represents the win for the player 2, and this one is for player 1, as we can see. Okay, so you can win diagonally so far as you have straight uh, players straight like this diagonally, but in this case we do not have, because if you take this X would have won except for this 0. So it can also be done. The winning can be vertically, horizontally, it can be horizontally, vertically, as we can see here, diagonally. Okay, but in this case we have done just for vertical. Okay, so that is it for the wins. That's something you are supposed to draw. So the next now is in the table in task 2 above, show 4 possible wins. So we have already done that in the table. To play the game, player 1 and player 2 make alternative moves. To implement this, a variable player is initialized to 0 and then incremented by 1 after each player's move. If player is divisible by 2, that is, its remainder is 0, it is player's 1's turn to play. He or she is then prompted to enter a column number. Otherwise, it is player's 2's turn and he or she is similarly prompted to play. So write a pseudocode fragment that uses a choice structure to alternate players. Okay, so it's very simple. We'll just dive directly. So we are going to have player, which initially the set is going to be 0. So what do we do next after player being 0? We'll use repeat until loop. Okay, so we'll keep repeating. And what are we going to repeat? We'll have condition. If we verify that player player is divisible by 2. Divisible by 2 simply means that player mode 2 should be equals to 0. So if that is the case, then what do we do? If that is the case, then we ask player 1 to player 1 to move in. Okay, so ask player 1 to move in if it's an even number. So how do we then ask player 1? We can just prompt by saying uh, player 1 player wants to move player wants 10. Okay, so we do that, and then uh, else what do we do? Else else should be in capital letters. Okay, let me put it this way. Okay, else what do we do? Else we are going to prompt uh player 2. So I may just copy this. Let me copy this and paste here. So instead of player 1 now, say player 2 stand. Okay, and after all of this, we'll end the if statement, and then what do we do next? We'll display the board, that is, we'll print grid with, we'll print the grid, print grid, uh, print grid with players move. Okay, and then once we've done that, then we'll increment player by 1. So player will now be equals to player plus 1. Okay, and after which we'll now move to ending the loop. So our loop is supposed to repeat until the game is over. So repeat this until the game is over. So that is it for the pseudocode. So now we move to implementation. In your favorite editor, declare a global variable C4 grid to hold the connect 4 grid. Its data type is tboard. Okay, so we are to declare a global variable. Now, this exercise, it's good that we first of all know that there is a file that has been created already. Okay, there is a file or a skeleton or a sample work that has been done in a file which we are supposed to use. So what we are going to do is that we'll just open our dev C++ and we'll start building. Okay, we'll start building, taking in consideration that there is already a file we are to use which contains some information. Okay, let me prepare. Okay, so uh voila. So to declare the global variable, what we do, global variables are declared above, so it is the set of type. So the global variable is supposed to be of type tboard. So we'll just type tboard. Okay, tboard, and tboard, the global variable is supposed to be called C for grid, and it's of type tboard. So we've done that. That's the global variable. We've declared that. So we've done that. The next thing is write a programming language, okay, or function procedure called display grid which takes in A as parameter, where argument A is of type, argument A is of type board. Okay, the argument A is of type board, and the subprogram prints the content of array A, 5 items per line. Okay, it displays its row and column numbers as described in task 2A. Now, they say grids are not required. They say the grids are not required. Okay, so how do we do that? To display, what we are supposed to do first of all is that there is a file called align. Okay, there is a file that was created called align, which contains some code. I said there is something like a skeleton code already. So let me look for it, and then we'll save our file there so that it can be used. Okay, so I'll go and look for the file. I'll just type align. Okay, I'll look for that file. Okay, and that is the file we are going to use to answer the questions, because the file already contains some data. Okay, this year we had a 2024, there was what we call a sample. You can see here. Okay, that's the sample file. So I will just copy that file. I will create a candidate folder here on desktop, which I will call candidate folder. So there's no time. Let me just go straight the way. It doesn't matter the name that is there. So this is a file. So if we open it, the file already is a header file. It already contains some data. If you check here, this is it. You see that our T-board, this is it here already. Everything has been put in place, which we are supposed to link this, okay, this file now to our work that is found here. So what I'll do is I will start now declaring display. We are supposed to create the procedure display grid that prints the grid. Okay, so we have that display grid that takes in the array A of type T-bar. So that's what we are supposed to declare. So it's a procedure. So it's a procedure, and we'll take that procedure. Okay, and what we have in it's they said that it's of type, sorry, it's of type T-bar. So T-bar, T-board, sorry, T-board, does it. So we open our procedure, and then we are going to use some indices, okay, for our grid. So inside now, what we'll do is we'll first of all print, we'll take a for loop that will help us for the rows. Okay, for the rows, normally rows is coming from T-board, okay, the rows and columns are all found there. So we'll say I starts from 0. I should be less than rows in capital letters. That's how it is in uh, align. Look at it here. You see them rows, columns. Okay, they are found there. So they have already been declared as global variables. You can see it here, the 5 by 5. So we have I now that increments, and then inside we are going to have we are going to print the row. Okay, each time we print the row, so we'll use printf to print the element of the row, which is now percentage d, since we are printing uh, uh, will indicate that okay, row 1, this is what is going to be printed. Those numbers we had at the site. So percentage d is for the row, which in this case, remember I said it should start from 1. So because the row numbers are supposed to be 1 to 5, column numbers also 1 to 5. So after this now, we will now have our loop, another loop, but this time around it's going to be for the columns. Okay, and it's going to take j instead. So here, and then we'll have j here and j over here, and then rows will tend to become cols for columns. Okay, and inside we are also supposed to print we are also supposed to print the content. Okay, inside we are supposed to print the grid. Okay, so we'll say printf in bracket percentage percentage c, yes, percentage c for characters, since we are to print the characters. Okay, we are to print the characters, that's the player's choice. Okay, so we are printing the characters at position I of position j. So that's it for the grid. That's what we're supposed to print. So outside the loop now, each time we are done with one row, what do? We move to a new line. So to do that, we'll use \n to go to a new line, so that the rows are not going to mix up. They are supposed to be separate. So, and then the number of r also increments by 1. Once you are done with one row, increment, so that we are going to have the rows appearing below, appearing on the side, 1, 2, 3, 4 for each row. Okay. So that is it for this procedure display grid. So we'll move to the next question. Now, next question, what do we have? In the next question, okay, the file, it is said that the file align.h and align.pass in your candidate folder contains definitions for two subprograms, empty grid and align a, which are called in the subroutine play game. Okay, comments. The file explain what the subprograms do. Okay, so now convert the algorithms in figure 1 and 2 into a function and procedure respectively. Place them, maybe I'll just enlarge it there. Convert the algorithms in figure 1 and 2 into function and procedures respectively. Place them in the appropriate places in your program. So, okay, so what is the function we are talking about? These are figure 1. These are the function figure 1 and figure 2. Figure 1 and figure 3. Is it figure 1 and figure 3? Figure 1 and figure 2. Where is figure 2? This should surely be figure 2. So now let's convert this into a programming language. What we see here, this first one. Okay. To do that, we are going to create. It's going to be a function, and a function that returns done. So done is an integer. So we are going to have int. The procedure is drop underscore disk. Okay. In brackets we have a which is of type word. Okay. And it is our array, our 2 by 2 array. So I forgot to put it here. That's our 2 by 2 array. Oh, we don't even need to. It is already considered in the T-board as a two-dimensional array. So once we call it like that, it's fine. So, there is something I forgot. We did the printing of the rows, but we did not print the columns. So we had to printing the numbers of the columns. Okay, I forgot. So we were supposed to have printf space. Oh, sorry, supposed to be in quotes. Printf in quotes space. Okay. So now to print the column numbers, because after you have printed all the data below, we are supposed to have columns. So I forgot totally. It's just now that I remember that it wasn't printed. So to do that, we'll use the for loop, this for loop here. Maybe I'll just take this. Okay, I'll copy this and paste it down here. So we are to print the column numbers. Okay, the column numbers. So we have J. For the column numbers, we'll be printing J plus 1, I think. Okay, and it's an integer that's supposed to be printed with space here. Yeah, the integer will start from 0 and yeah, so and end of columns. So I think that's okay. That's okay. So for that, we'll move now to what we were doing earlier. We ought to do earlier. So the second now for the disks now, we'll have int call and int what is it? Is it int? No, it's char for the character of the disk entered. That's what we have here. Disk. How do I know it's a char? Because the column receives the value of disk, so it should be char. Char for the choice entered by the player. Okay, so that is it. And inside int, our done is an integer. So done initially is equals to 0. Also I receive row. R should be equals to rows. That's what the code has prepared for us. But now it should be rows minus 1. Remember we are doing it in C. So it's row minus 1. Okay, so inside the condition now, if column is greater than or equals to 1, that's the first condition. Let's put it in bracket. If col is greater than or equals to 1, and is written this in this manner, and col less than or equals to col less than or equals to col, then what do we do? Then we have another. So maybe I'll just put this. Okay, inside now I'll have my while loop. Inside we have our while loop. It says if done is not equals to 1, it means done not equals to is written in this manner, not equals to 1, and I is greater than 0. Do what do we do? Open brackets. Inside now we'll have our condition. Okay, we'll have our condition. We'll have our condition. Our condition is A of I. A of I of call receiving this whatsoever has come in as this. Oh, before before then we're supposed to have the if statement. If A of call equals to empty, if it equals to empty, okay, if it equals to empty, then uh, we have two statements to make. If it equals to empty, means there's nothing inside. We take that cell and I'll copy it and paste over here. It should receive this. Okay, it should receive this, and done should be equals to 1. Okay, uh, and then after that we'll decrement I. Okay, we decrement I. Remember, this is the same as I equals to I minus 1. So what do we have after the else? Now in the first if statement we have else, we have done should be equals to -1 semicolon, and at the end of all of this we are going to return done. So that is it for this procedure. Now we'll do the second one, which is supposed to be this one here, this one on our left. That's figure 2. We convert for figure 2, which is for play game. So let's convert figure 2 for play game, and figure 2 is a procedure. Okay, so I hope so. Yeah, it's a procedure. So we'll say void play game, void play game. Okay, it does not take anything as parameter. So we move on. Void pregame. Inside now we have int. Our first int stop. Stop is an integer. Stop receives 0. Place dix also is an integer, so we can put it as under int plate underscore dix equals to 0 to, and player also receives 0, so player also equals to 0. Okay, so what do we do? Int score. The next is, do we have any other uh, uh, do we have any other variables that are supposed to be there? We are supposed to declare done. Yes, they are also integers. Done, we have done here. Align, so all of that are integers, so let's just declare them. We have call, which is used. We have aligned, which is used, and done, that is also an integer. So that's it. We move on now. We call on empty grid, okay, which is found, it is found in align.h, the header file, which we were supposed to even include. So sorry, we did not include our align.h. Align.h was supposed to be included from the onset, so it's pre-created, so it's supposed to be in quotes. We define this, so that is it. We forgot to include it. Okay, so let me continue here. We call on grid C4 grid. Okay, so that's a procedure to empty the grid. Okay, after that, what do we have? We have repeat until. Repeat until in C is do while. Okay, is do while. So we'll say int stop insert updated code section from tax 3D. Okay, so int stop equals to sorry do. Inside our do now, we'll take that code we wrote before, the pseudo code. We'll try to convert it to C, where we set player. If player modulus is represented by percentage, modulus 2 is equals to 0, then what do we do? When that is the case, we'll ask the player to enter, player 1 to enter the column number. Okay, so we have a printf asking the player 1. So we say player player 1, player 1's also player 1's player 1, just player 1, player 1, please enter column number, enter column number. Okay, and that column number the column number should be between 1 and 5. 1 to 5. Okay. So once we've done that, we have to scan that input. We have to take in the input, the number, column number. The column number is an integer, so it's percentage d that comes in, and the variable it's going to be called call. Okay. So for the column number, and what do we do next? When we have scanned that, we will now move to else. If, for instance, now the number that the player is not even, it means it's going to be player 2. That's when we'll ask for player 2 to enter the information needed. So we'll take this, we'll copy, and we paste it here, change it to player 2. Change it to player 2, and we forgot that after taking this, the column number, please, the dix is supposed to receive x, okay, for the first, and this dix I forgot will also be done here, but this time around it's not going to be x but instead o, for player 2. So once we've done that, we'll move now where we have done it. Now we'll move now. So I'm continuing now according to this code given here. Okay. So the next now will be done will receive drop dix uh, with parameter c for grid. Okay. Call, which we just got in, and the dix choice. So that will help in inserting it, okay, into the grid. Then after that, we'll now have the condition, which we can see if done is equals to 1. Then what do? We have a series of instructions. So we'll display the grid with C4 grid as parameter. Player will increment by 1, so plus plus, and then place underscore dix will also increment, so I can just put it this way. Okay, then the else, we have else if in bracket done is equals to 0. Then what do? Then we will print f in bracket. What's going to be the message? Chosen column is full. Okay, chosen column is full. maybe I'll just put a backslash n so that now choosing column is full, else will print I'll copy this, take another else, and then print. What am I going to print? Invalid column number. Invalid column number. Voilà. So with that now, we can see that we have ended that. Then we'll move to align. My God. So align will receive is align. Inside we have C4 grid. Okay, then go back again with if statements. The first one is align equals to 1 and this equals to x. Then what happens? We are going to print game over. Game over. Player 1 wins. And player 1 wins. Well, we could put stop equals to, but we can simply put break. Okay, which is the same as stop equals to 1. Okay, so else we'll do the second. So take the else, the second condition. I'll prefer to just prepare it at once. Else, if we copied it, copy this one piece here. If grid equals to this, but now it's inside O here. So we'll say player 2 wins. Okay. Else, what happens? It means it's a draw. Else, we may say else there is an error. If you enter maybe an information, let me use this print. Okay. Which will print a message. What is the message? The message is error. Error. Unknown player. Unknown player type. unknown player type, percentage D to indicate the one that was entered, the player type entered, and player type is represented by ticks. So that's it. And um, voila. So we end there, and then the loop, while the condition for the loop is while, as simple as that. Uh, we take the opposite of what we see here. While place dix is less than, while place dix is less than or close to 25. Um, so less than or equals to 25. Okay, I'm not using stop here because I did not use it here. Okay, I use my break, so that's why I did not put the condition for stop. So, but if you use stop here, then you have to put it down here. So that's it, and then we move now. We are not done with this. We'll move to the next condition now. Uh, uh, mm, so the next is if done equals to 1. It says stop equals to 0. Since I did not use stop, I will use done. If done is still equals to, if done is equals to 1, okay, which means we are going to print the message game over, it is a tie. Okay, so we print a message saying game over, it is a tie. Game over, it is a tie. So that's a message for that. Is there any other confusion? No. So that's the end of the loop. That's the end of the procedure. So once we've done that, that's fine. So I think this is too long. So we'll stop here for the questions. We'll continue the other questions. We'll move on to the next question over here. In our next video, we'll see how we have already. So we'll move to D in the next video. Otherwise, it will be very, very, very long. So we'll stop here. In the next video, we'll continue with exercise D. So thank you very much. See you in our next video.